Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday, and it is it's January the 6th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and I'm continuing to get better. My strength is coming back. Hopefully, by again after a long weekend, maybe I'll be 100% next week, but we'll have to see. Um, I pretty much spent most of the day here today. It's the first day I didn't go home during the middle of the day, and but I am getting tired quickly here, so I'm going to move through these trades pretty quickly. These days are hard to trade. I'm just going to tell you, if you struggle today, you're probably not alone. These are just hard days to trade. You can see that the big picture is a range, but nowhere do we turn down consistently. Nowhere do we turn up consistently. We got a little bit of consistency here at some point today, a couple of times, but these are hard days to trade. So there's not a lot of trades here. Quite a few green ones. You probably could argue for more green ones than what I've got here. But if you struggle on days like that, they're just hard because look how strongly we're moving up, and then you just get stuck, and then it's moving down just as strongly, and then the market just has no direction here. Doesn't know what it wants to do, and that makes it hard to trade. There was a really nice trend down here, but there weren't really a lot of good opportunities to get in that. I marked a few of them green, and you might even argue that they're right at the borderline. A couple of them may be close. I marked them green, and I'll try to explain why. But I'm going to go through these pretty quickly again because I'm getting tired quickly here. So um, let's just back out here or zoom in here and go through the trades. As you can see, when I first came in, we were in this range. 7 o'clock is right in here. There's just too much. There's a failure right there, but that goes higher. But there's just too much congestion right there. That's too dangerous to go long. And you can see we made the high up here. We tried to go higher once, twice, and we failed. And it's tempting to go short right there, but if you would have got stopped out. As you can see, you just really can't take failures when you're in tight ranges like this. Look how flat the EMA is. Look how prices are back and forth. Don't try to take failures like that. But notice we did try to go higher once, twice, three times. So we get a triple test here, and this breaks higher and fails, and you get a big bearish bar. I like that one for a short, and that was a nice trade. It actually probably trapped enough people that they pushed it a little lower. And what does it do? It instantly reverses and gets back. And notice you had a triple test here, but again, that's just so congested that there's no rejection off those lows. It ends up rocketing up, but that's not rejection, and that's not what you want to see. And it's dangerous entering out of that because it could break higher and turn down and make another leg down and trap you out. So I did skip over this second entry short here, and I marked this one green, but you might argue that this one's red. Um, it's a clear two-legged correction and a bearish bar on a second entry short, and we did make a lower high here. But we just came off the lows, and it's a range, so it may trap you and turn up. So I marked it green, but it's close. And of course, we did make this triple test, and you could argue for that to be green, but I just wouldn't take that trade. And we do come up here, and we continue to try to trend higher, but you just don't get any setups. You don't even get a good signal bar, really. The market just is just meandering along. And originally, I had the highs here, but I moved them up here, and I believe that to be correct because it did match up with pretty much the midline the rest of the day, as you can see. This dashed blue line in here is the midline, and so I believe that to be the range for the day. Um, that one's tempting to go short, but timing is everything in these trades. And you do have a break in a new high, but generally you'd be better off to wait on a lower high or reversal pattern. And you get a lower high right here, but no setup. And you do get a reversal here. It's not ideal, but it is a reversal pattern. So I did mark that one green. I'm not crazy about it, but that's really the only opportunity you had until here. You got a lower high off of this high and a big bearish bar. So you may take that one. Again, I marked it green. You can see with it we tested that midline. That's the dashed blue line again. We tested it once, twice, and we got that big bearish bar. So you may take that trade. Again, I marked it green. It's not ideal. And we do run on down here. And you do get a second entry here, but this is just sideways stuff down at the low of the range. And so, but there's clearly a spike and channel down in this yellow channel. And so I looked at this as a first entry and this as a second entry and a lower high. And I marked it green because it's right at the low of the day and there's not much room to scalp out there. So it's a little dangerous, but this channel is still in play. And so there's a good chance we push on lower, which we do. So, but I just really don't like going short into that low like that. But you can clearly see we pushed a little lower. And this looks like it's going to bounce out of there, and I guarantee you that trapped some people. And you can tell it was a trap because it rocketed down real quick. But as soon as that trap was over and they ran the stops, it bounced. And just like you would always expect any breakout to fail, even if it's going to be temporary. And of course it fails, but you don't get a chance to trade back into it. And there's just no setup there. Again, that doesn't look like reversal, and you don't get a reversal pattern or anything until maybe here. Notice that you went lower, you made a double bottom, and then you made this higher low. And there is a swing high here. It's higher than that one. So this is a first entry, second entry, and you get a nice bar here. So this is probably a nice trap, and you can see it was. It rocketed up real quick. And that's what you'd expect, probably another leg up, similar to this first leg. And you can see that gives you a target right in there, which is about where we went to before it corrects. And I didn't show you coming down. You made this first leg, and so we were looking for a measured leg down here as well. And you can see that would have been right in there. And we tried to bounce there, but pushed on lower. They were gunning for these stops down here, and they got them. And then they rallied it after that. And that's just what they do. And but notice we just talked about that trade. It's a second entry long, a higher low off a double bottom there. And then we get your first break of this cayenne colored here. And we tried to make a new low and make a higher low right there. I like going long on that higher low just because we're going to probably retest that high anyway. And we may retest the high of the range, which is way back up here. And instead we just start meandering sideways again. And I don't see anything in here that really, I mean, you just get chopped to pieces trying to trade that. You can't trade second entries. You can't trade failures really. The only thing you can do is sell the highs and buy the lows. And you finally do make a breakout here in a lower high, and then there's a failure right here on the other. It gives you a chance to go short on the other side of the midline. So you'll probably test the lows again, which at that point you're looking at this, it actually ends up going back to the midpoint of the overall range. So this one's a little iffy, but I like this one. That's what you want to see, a lower high and a nice signal bar. And of course that's a reversal, but you got to be careful with reversals and this sideways stuff because you can get chopped up on it. We do bounce down here and go higher, but I don't see anything. Again, we're turning lower, and there's a lower high here, but that's just too congested. But you do get another attempt right there, and that one fails. I like that one, but again, you're really trading a failure there and a trap, and you got to be careful with those. However, we are coming off the high after a failed break higher. But if you wait a few minutes later, you get the second entry right here on the way down, and there is a trend line there. And it's really more, it's really like a spiking channel here, like this. And you can see that. And that does confirm that trend line, gives you a second entry short. There's another attempt right there, but you're just right into the lows now. And you see what happens. You probably could have, you wouldn't want to go short right there, but you could have traded that on the engulfing bar and gone short one tick below that. But that's always a little riskier as well. You know, I'll mark it green, but really you need to get in sooner up here. And it fails on the breakout and traps everybody, and then you get a triple test here with nice signal bar. I like that one. There's actually a higher low right here, but there's not a lot of room back to that midline, and we've turned down there multiple times. So you don't have any, there's no way to have any real confidence that we're going to push through there this time, although we do. But if you wait a minute, then you get a second entry long that comes right off the trend line, and it is above the midline, and that's the better entry. You can see we do run on up. And we just start going sideways again, and you don't want to go long right into that resistance that's been holding all across there. And you don't want to go short while this trend line's in play unless you get something sure and there's just nothing there. And eventually we do run on up and make a new high and break out again, but it fails pretty quickly. I don't see anything here that you can trade. There is a second entry here, but the signal bar is no good. But we do make a lower high finally. And then we do get a reversal here. And notice we're testing that original resistance again. And look how bearish that bar is. You would expect prices to try to come back down here. And then we just start chopping along again. I treated this like a little triple test with a failed breakout, but again, you're almost always better off to wait on the lower high, and you don't get one. It makes a higher high here and turns down, and then it fails out the low side. That's what rejection looks like, and that is a second entry long. Notice you get first entry and then it turns down. And if you draw your little trend channel, you get a close outside a new low, but it's all in one bar. You might have traded this one. It's just so close back to the EMA, and there's still plenty of room back to this high if this is going to hold. So, and you do have a break of the Cayenne and now a new low in play. So there's some reasons to consider that one. I didn't mark it. It's getting late in the day, but you could argue for it. And of course, you break out, try to go higher once, twice. Again, I'm not crazy about failures in this kind of situation, but that's what you would expect to happen if we're going to try to go back and test the low again. So you may take that one. I marked it green again. And then same thing here. We finally pushed through, came back, went higher again, and you get a failure there on the second entry. And there's also a second entry long, and it's a pretty decent signal bar, and it does confirm that trend line. So I marked that one blue because we'll probably head back up at least to test this, and we may go all the way back to the high again. We don't quite get there, but it does push higher. I don't see anything to really trade. Again, there's a failure right there, but that's not what you want to see. That's what that little trend looks like working down there. And this is definitely not off the EMA, and it's right at the midline of this pink sideways stuff. And so I don't see anything you want to take there. There is a second technically this is not a second entry, it's a hidden one. That's one you might have taken. I mean, it's right at the 230 mark, 1 minute after. So that's another one that you might take. It's a hidden second entry. It is a double test of that level right there. And you can see, look at the new low. You try to go lower once, twice. So it's, and you would expect prices to try to make a new low on this move down in the little cayenne colored channel right there, trend channel. So it's another one you might consider. I definitely wouldn't be going short down here, even though this is after well into 2:30. I wouldn't go to short down here, even if this was at 8 a.m. or 8:30 or 9 a.m. or whatever. So, and we did push a little lower before we bounced and got right back in the channel again. So, just that kind of day, really. We spent most of the day right around the middle of this big range in between, in the upper half of it, so to speak. So these trading days are not easy, and you'll get chopped to pieces. So you got to be real careful, and you got to be real choosy with your entries, and you can get whipsawed in a New York second, so to speak. So anyway, yeah, I'm getting tired, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. Again, I apologize about this week, but I'd rather take it slow and easy and get myself well and get back than to try to push myself and have a relapse and be dealing with this again still next week. And who knows? I mean, I may still be a little weak next week, but I'm feeling better every day. I felt better today than I have the whole week, so I feel like I'm definitely on the mend. No more sore throat, no more hacking and all that. You can still tell my throat's a little scratchy, but I'm sure my voice sounds 1,000% better than it did the first day I did that video. I could barely talk that day. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. No chart lessons on Fridays anyway, so I'm not even going to try to do one tomorrow. I'm going to take a long weekend, and I probably won't trade tomorrow. I'll probably come in and upload a mid-morning chart for you and try to answer a few emails and maybe even try to answer some stuff in the forum. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time here tomorrow. I'm going to take a long weekend and try to recover. So anyway, hope you've had a good start to the new year. Maybe we'll get some better price action in this next week and maybe even tomorrow. But I'm not trading this week, so I wasn't even going to attempt to. I just don't feel up to it. So I'll wait till next week, and if I'm feeling good Monday, I'll start trading Monday again. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again Monday, God willing. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.